What's going on? My name is Ryan, for those of you that don't know, and I like to do a monthly Bible study here online every single month. And a lot of the ladies here in the Nashville area like to get together and we do watch parties when these things go live. So if you want to get plugged in, if you want to hang out and meet new people, go follow us on our other socials so that we can get you that information. Because it's really important to be mindful about who you surround yourself with. And one of the most important things for my family and for us here at Different is to create a family that can trust one another and be there for one another, especially because we don't get to choose the family we're born into, right? But we do get to choose our closest friends. And for us, our friends are our family. And so if you want to meet new people and you want to come hang out with us, please reach out. We'd love to get you plugged in. And if you are keeping up with us on our Sunday services, you know we're in a sermon series right now called Nope. We have said nope to anxiety and fear and depression. And I want to talk to you guys today about saying nope to comparison, because comparison is to compromise who you are. It's to compromise who you were created to be. And comparison can distract you. It can steal your joy, and it can make you question your calling. And I know for me, when I first started going to church, this is 10 plus years ago, our pastor at the time, I walked in and I wore the ripped jeans, right? And he told me that I was not allowed to wear those. Not a super big deal, right? But then Tyler and I started dating, and there were people in the church that said, she can't be a pastor's wife because she can't sing. And then you have other people in the church that are like, I don't want you to be with her. I want you to be with this other pastor because I think you guys would be cute together. And there's just a lot of little comments here and there. And that really, it started to destroy me because I started to compare myself, right? I started to look at how the people in the church were dressing, and I started dressing like them. It made me kind of build up a little bit of resentment for the person that these people wanted my husband to be with. And there was just a lot of stuff that I was struggling with internally. And that's what comparison can do, right? Comparison can start to become your identity because you're taking on the identity of others and those feelings that you may have inside about other people. And you know, I just want to go ahead and say, my husband, through all of that, he, when I asked him, hey, like, why do you want to marry me? He said, I want to marry you for your heart. And God's the same way. You know, my husband, he's just a man. He's my man. He's a perfect man. I love him so much. But he's just a man. And God, he loves us. He created us. And that's what he cares about the most. He cares about our heart, right? And in Luke 6:45, it says, a man can bring good things out of the good stored up in his heart. And an evil man brings evil things out of the good stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. What is your heart full of? We cannot produce good things if we continue to compare ourselves to other people, because comparison, it creates envy and jealousy and bitterness and resentment in your heart. And these things can become your identity if you're not careful. If you're walking around with bitterness in your heart, then you're going to be lacking kindness. If you're walking around with jealousy, you're going to lack faithfulness and peace. If you've got envy in your heart, you're going to lack that generosity and that joy. And if you've got resentment in your heart, you're going to lack gentleness and goodness. And God created us to walk around to be to be fruit of the Spirit, right? And God created us to walk around with the fruit of the Spirit in order for us to love others properly. And so in order to do that, we have to check our heart. And we have to stop compromising who we are and who we are created to be. Because for me, saying I can't wear a certain pair of jeans may not seem like a big deal, but we're all created differently and we like different things for a reason, right? And for me, you know, your style is a lot about who you are. It says a lot about who you are. And so I started dressing a lot more maturely and hanging out with older people, and It's not a bad thing, but it wasn't me. And everybody, it felt like in that church, were the same. And if everybody's the same, how are we going to reach other people? How are we going to reach people that are different than us, right? We're all created to be different for a reason. We all have a purpose, and we were born with these gifts, these talents that we have for a reason. And we can't do that if we are comparing ourselves or becoming other people. And if you go to Galatians 5:22 through 25, it gives you a list of the fruits of the Spirit. It's peace, joy, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So God never called us to be or act or become someone else. If we continue to waste so much of our time and our energy comparing ourselves to others, and we end up losing our joy in ourselves in the process. So stop it. Quit settling, quit compromising. Be you. Be who God created you to be. Those little quirky things about you, they're good. We're all created different and unique for a reason. And I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the meaning of different. Do you know what the meaning of different is? It means not the same. And the Bible talks about us being holy. Do you know what holy means? It means to be set apart. It's not the same as everyone else. We are created to be set apart from this world. We are supposed to be different. And those little things that make you different are the things that God wants to use to help you connect and reach people that I and other people may never reach. And every day you get to decide either to be happy with who you are or to compare yourself to others and compromise who you are. And that will dictate two things. One, your attitude, because what you speak comes from the heart. So if you're compromising yourself, then you may have that bitterness, that jealousy, that envy. Do you want to be happy or do you want to be bitter? Do you want to be jealous or do you want to be confident? These are things that you get to decide when you decide if you're going to be who God created you to be, or if you're going to compare yourself to somebody you work with or somebody at school or somebody else. And the second thing it's going to dictate is who you will or will not reach that day. If you don't love yourself, how can you love others? If you're not kind to yourself, how can you be kind to others? If you want a good marriage, you have to learn to love yourself. If you want a happy family, you have to learn to love yourself. If you want great friendships, you have to learn to love yourself. And if you're a mom, it's so much deeper. Those little ones, especially if you have girls like myself, they're watching you. And every little thing that you say you hate about yourself, they're going to grow up and they're going to hate about themselves. And life is just so much deeper than just being here on earth and just surviving, right? You're here for a reason. You have a purpose. And I want my girls to grow up loving who they are, loving who they were created to be, because they are amazing. They are completely different. They are not like each other at all, but they are both so beautiful and so unique and so amazing in their own way. And that's the same for us. God says the same thing about us. And in case you need to hear this today, if you haven't already, God says that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. You are beautiful and you are wonderful. So you don't have to compare yourself to somebody else. You don't have to compromise who you are, and you don't have to become who society or the world tells you to be. Just check your heart. Write that verse down on your mirror. Write yourself kind words on sticky notes and put them in places in your car, in your purse, or wherever, just to remind you that you are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are set apart. You are not the same. You are different. And you can make a difference when you start embracing who you are and who God has created you to be. And figure out what your purpose is. That's so important. You don't have to compare yourself. But if you do want to compare yourself to someone, then compare yourself to Jesus. That's scriptural. In Ephesians 5:1-2, it says, "Therefore be imitators of God as beloved children, and walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself for us." The only person that we are to compare ourselves to is Jesus. Yes, he was perfect, and we will never be perfect. But we can strive to love like Jesus loved and to serve like Jesus served. because we should always be growing. Don't compare yourself to somebody else because they're going to be growing at a different level, but we should always be evaluating ourselves and growing closer to Him so that we can grow here on earth. And just like that says, if you want to imitate someone, you imitate Jesus. What does Jesus say that we're called to do? We're called to love. Love ourselves and love others. Be kind to ourselves and be kind to others. God loves you. And I love you, and I am just so thankful that you were joining me here today, and I hope that this encourages you and fills you up. And please know that if you ever need anything, you can reach out to me. Just follow me on my socials. Follows different on theirs. But thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time.